Welcome to Coastal by Design How-To Edition. Today we're going to be talking about Bondo, and we're going to get right to it in 5 seconds. Most everyone knows that you can use this for body work on automotive. What a lot of people don't know is that this is great for fixing repairs on wooden furniture, for instance. Step 1, proper mixing. There's a couple things here, guys. Everyone knows that you've got to mix the hardener and the resin completely. But what a lot of people don't think about is when you first open up this can right here, give this a good stir. There are solvents in here that like to separate, and when you look in here, you don't necessarily notice it, but it's happening. So get yourself a stick, give it a good stir. And you don't have to go nutty with this, but it's a good idea to scrape off the sides and just give it a good stir. You don't really want to put any air bubbles in there, but even if you do, they're all going to get smashed out when you mix it with the catalyst. So the instructions say to knead this cream hardener, this catalyst right here, back and forth. But what you might notice is, especially if this has been sitting in a hot garage, this will swell up with air. And when you go to try to knead it, you're not really doing anything. You're just pushing air back and forth. So a little tip I like to do is just kind of try to get this cream hardener, take the top off, get it to knock down to the bottom, and just give it a slight squeeze to push the air out. You notice nothing's coming out of the top. I'm just getting air out of the top until I see it come out like that, and then put the lid back on it. And then you can knead it and you're not pushing air around. Now that we've got those two mixed up, we're going to mix them together. The instructions say to do a 3-inch diameter puddle of the putty and then run a stripe of this across the diameter about a 1/4 inch thick. The problem with that theory is, what if you don't need that much? So that's what we're going to go over right now. To put this into perspective, we're at about 2 1/4 inches across, nowhere near a 1/2 inch. We've got this kneaded up. Reason why I wanted to do this is if you do a smaller amount and you still run a stripe across that, the ratios aren't going to be correct. That only works for 3 inches. It's supposed to be a 50-to-1 mix. So if you want to use a scale and just measure in grams, that's probably the best way to go. Otherwise, I found that less is more. So as long as you mix this up properly and get it mixed up really well where you don't see any variations of color, it's going to work. It's going to kick, it's going to harden up, and you're not going to have to worry about anything, especially because we're not doing anything that's structural. We're just going to repair some furniture. If you're doing body work on a car, stick to the 50-to-1 or whatever ratio works for you. So with the less is more, I'm just going to put a little bit in like that, just kind of guesstimating, and I'm going to make sure that I get this mixed up really well. I'm going to show you what bad mixing and good mixing looks like. And they always say, don't stir it. But once again, what we're doing here is, it's not going to matter. All right. Now, you see in there where it's darker blue in some spots and more gray in others? A lot of times people will just leave it at that, but you want to keep going. You want to make sure it's thoroughly mixed. Another little tip is that you will get nothing but putty up here with no catalyst in it, and you got to get that off and into the mix, or make sure this doesn't end up in your repair. One of the two. So I just come over here on the side, get it off, put it back over here like that. Now, once you get this mixed and you're ready to start working it, keep it thin on your board like this. That'll give you the most working time. If you leave it in a clump like that, it's going to harden much faster. That's what it's supposed to look like when it's mixed. A couple final points on mixing. You always want to mix on a hard, non-porous surface. A lot of us will just grab a piece of cardboard. I'm going to be honest with you, I've done that for years and I've really never had any problem. If you're doing some automotive work, you might want to do everything perfectly and do the non-porous thing. The reason they say to do this is the same reason why you want to mix this can, the solvents. Since they leak out in there, they will also absorb into the cardboard and not get the mix quite right. Like I said, I've never had a problem, but if you want to do it right, hard non-porous surface. Lastly, on mixing, always mix near what you're working on. This stuff dries so fast or starts to cure so fast where it becomes unworkable. If you get close to your work when you start putting that cream hardener in there, you're going to give yourself the best chance by not having to walk to it. Also, the hotter the day and the drier the day, the quicker this stuff will dry. All right, now that the basics are out of the way, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and also discuss whether you should even use Bondo depending on the repair. So what we're going to do today, I've got this wood right here with this triangle I've conveniently chopped out, and we're going to fill this with Bondo. Basically pretend that this is an edge of a table that got beat up and we're going to fix it. I've already cleaned this up. So now I'm going to take this 80 grit and roughen this surface up right here. Make sure I get any last little bit of loose wood out of here. And the 80 grit is going to put some pretty good scratches in there to give the Bondo something to grab onto. And this is a great time to bring up that anytime you have a repair like this that you're going to fill with Bondo, this is already going to get covered with Bondo. And the uglier you make this, the more scratches, the more gouges, the more holes. It's just going to give the Bondo more to grab onto. So now that I've got this roughed up a little bit, I'm actually going to take this screw gun, believe it or not, and run a few holes in here. Guys, we are a brand new channel and we're on a race to 1,000. If you got some value out of this video, please give us a like, consider subscribing, and if you have any comments on how we can make the channel better, please leave us a comment. We'd really appreciate that. We read all comments. Thank you again for watching. When you first start applying Bondo to a repair, that first part of the repair that the Bondo first touches, that's where the chemical and mechanical bond is going to happen. So I pulled this back because when I mix up the Bondo, I'm going to really smash it in there. Plus I want to get it in the holes. And I'm going to get a layer pushed up against here. Then I'm going to fold it over and basically fill up that area with the rest of the Bondo. Because the first bit of Bondo will stick on there, and then the rest of the Bondo will stick to that Bondo. All right, I'm about ready to mix up another batch, and I got to move quick because I'm going to try to get all of this in one shot, other than maybe a little smoothing at the end. But the truth of the matter is, this stuff goes so fast that if I don't get it all in one, it's not going to take me that much more longer. Benefit of the lazy Susan. All right. So I'm just peeling a little bit off right there, and I'm going to get that in there and smash it. Get that in there and smash it in. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I'll get it. I can get that. And a little bit more right in there. Really get it in there good. All right. All right, now I'm going to wrap my tape around like this. I'm just going to roll it down in there. Might even peel this back just a little bit to help it. It's a messy job, but somebody's got to do it. Now, I'm not worried at all about this tape bulging out because it's so easy to shape the way I'm going to show you. I watch people do Bondo and they put it on there and walk away and wait for it to cure to come back and sand for 9 million years. Guys who do body work for a living, they know that's not the way you do it. All right, it's been about, I don't know, what did you say, about 3 minutes? So we're going to pull the tape off. It's definitely not looking very glossy anymore. We've definitely lost a lot of that. So I've got this little chisel right here that I can use. And this is the little trick. It's still a little too wet for that, but we can pry it off. And this is when you don't wait for it to cure. It's only been about 3 minutes now since I put it on there, and it's fairly hard, but not cured. And I'm just going along like this. Anyway, when I get it down a little closer, I'll take my 80 grit and get it really close. Then I'll wait for it to cure when it's really close to where I need it to be. And then I'll just finish sand it. Piece of cake. I think you guys get the idea with the chisel here. You could do this with a putty knife. You can also do this with, what are those little scrapers with that you grind the nutmeg on? Go into the kitchen and borrow one of those zesters.
Yeah, zester.
Zester. You can use a zester. Some people say cheese grater. I've never done that. But look at that. I'm barely putting any pressure. I'm getting it off. I'm going kind of slow because I'm talking at the same time. Now we're finished with the chisel. It's been about 4.5, maybe 5 minutes total since we first applied the Bondo. Still just that first coat. And now it's a good spot to start hitting it with the 80 grit. We got all the excess off and got this whittled down pretty close, but I don't want to take a risk of going too deep with the chisel. So now I got the sanding block and the 80 grit, and we're just going to go like this. You'll know if it's too soon if these little balls don't come off. If it starts to really impact your sandpaper, you'll know you're doing it too soon. Bondo's messy. Don't use Bondo if you don't need to, guys. There's a lot of situations where I see people using Bondo where they could use something else that would be a lot easier to work with. For instance, I've got this missing piece of veneer right here. I could fix that with some new veneer, but this is all getting painted. So I'm going to use Bondo there. If I have a big gouge on the top, I'm going to use Bondo because it's going to get some wear and tear and needs to be strong. However, if I've got a scratch or something on the side that's inconsequential, not going to get any wear and tear, I'm just going to use something else, maybe one of these two products. Guys, if this video was of benefit to you, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We're a brand new channel. We're on a race to 1,000 subscribers, and it would really help us out. And also, leave us a comment. Let me know how I got it wrong, if I got it wrong, or what you liked about the video. We really appreciate you watching. Thank you.